What is up, Bricker Maniacs? My name is Mike. His name's Joe. His name's EP, and we're here to talk about cards. We're not just here to talk about cards. We're here to rank cards. We're going to give you our top 5 baseball cards of all time. That's right. Last week, we gave you our top 5 football. This week, we're doing top 5 baseball. I'm sure nobody will disagree with this list, right? Just remember, before we get into it, this is our list. Your list may be different, and that is okay. But this is our list, so it's not wrong. We're just going to give it to you. How about it?
Yeah.
Number 5 on the list is the 1968 Nolan Ryan and Jerry Koosman rookie card.
Who's this Nolan Ryan you speak of?
Who's the Nolan Ryan guy? I know they ruined the Jerry Koosman card. I joke. Jerry Koosman was a solid pitcher. I remember watching him pitch quite a bit when I was younger. But yes, Nolan Ryan. People of a certain age, this card was always a grail. People like me, I don't have one of these, but it is a card that I often think I really want to get a copy of this card. This, when I had my shop, especially in the early days, like that early 90s to mid 90s, Nolan Ryan was still playing, was still dominating, was such a great player, fun player to watch, tough guy. This card was just the grail for so many collectors during that period of time. And I feel like it deserves number 5 on the all-time list of best cards.
So let me talk about Coos. All right. I was a big Coos head back in the day.
You were, yes.
Okay. Nolan Ryan's amazing. I remember him more for because I didn't watch baseball, but he always was on commercials. That man knew how to sell his wares. He was always out there. He was always making a little side scratch, which I appreciate. The thing I love about this card, it's 2 players. I love cards with 2 players. Give me a Tom Brady and Tim Rattay card. Come on, boys. This is. And we had mentioned some other cards potentially at this 5th spot. There was another one that I was thinking about too. I think there's 4 players. There's just something about baseball. They can get away with it a lot easier than, again, football. You're not seeing that Brady Rattay card on too many lists. But I do really appreciate the Nolan Ryan and the Koozer, as I call it.
Little fact, beer koozies are named after Jerry Koosman.
I knew I heard that
totally
somewhere.
True.
Okay.
Yes,
is that true?
Totally true.
You saw it on the internet, EP. It's gotta be true.
Okay. Yeah, as Joe alluded to, there are a lot of cards. Oh my gosh, I almost knocked one of my cords over my microphone.
So excited about
cards. Yeah, I mean, there are several cards that could have gone here for sure, but I mean, we don't have spoilers. We have no other pitchers on this list, and if you're going to talk about a pitcher in the hobby, Nolan Ryan is it. He transcended sports cards and sports, like Joe said, to become the spokesman for Advil, I think it was, and just in general, we have photos of him throwing a football in the 1989 Upper Deck and stuff, and just he's just the most well known guy. Also, all the no hitters, just like this, he's almost like a legend. He's definitely a legend. He's a legend a living legend in the hobby. I have to have this card on here.
All right, number 4 on our list of the greatest baseball cards of all time. This one might get a little bit of pushback from some people, but this card is great. I love it at number 4 on our list. It is the 1990 Topps Frank Thomas No Name on Front. World of Error cards. There are some different ones out there. There's a very popular Billy Ripken card with something written on there. Maybe that's on your list, but this card, just because it's such a unicorn, I know following EP around at the National, when he actually saw that this card did exist, he saw one in real life, was an amazing experience, because that's what our hobby is about. This is a card, people of our age, you were looking in Beckett and you saw pictures of this and you saw it in there, but you never saw this in person. Where are you going to go see it? You didn't have the internet at the time. There was no place to see it. So you knew it existed, but you never saw it. It's a true unicorn, just probably the rarest error card of all time, maybe. I don't know. I can't back that up. But that's what I'm going with because that's what I'm giving you today. But this is a strong number 4 on our list of the best baseball cards of all time.
Yeah, this one was a no-brainer for all three of us. I think we all thought at the same time the no name on front. It's such an ugly card too, like that orange border.
You take that back.
I knew that would piss you off. I knew it would piss you off. It's of the 90s for sure.
Oh yeah,
of the neon orange of the 90s, and he's wearing his Auburn. EP, how dare you love a baseball card in a college uniform? Mike, are you catching this? Like, oh, I don't like cards with college uniforms. Every card he talks about are players with college uniforms on. But here you have Frank Thomas in his Auburn uniform. It is one of those unicorn cards. Now, actually, I have a question for you, Mike, as a shop owner. Did anyone try and pass one of these off to you? No. They didn't try and try and erase the name or anything. I could see scammers in the hobby.
I'm sure there were, yeah. But I mean, I think the problem with that is just because it was such a rare card that it was even too rare for your normal scammer to try to scam with. So somebody's automatically going to be on high alert if somebody brings that.
That walks into the store. As Joe said, listen, this it's an ugly card, sure, ugly, whatever. It to me, 1990 Topps is collecting baseball. It is one of my favorite sets of all time. I love the design. I love the set. This card is part of the reason why this. I mean, we talked about the Ryan Koosman card as an example of a card with two players on it. This card is an example of an error card, a perfect example, the best example. Like it's not like a missing copyright symbol on the back or a missing a line,
or a cigarette advertisement, or something.
Right. This is like literally what if you look at this, look at one of these babies, immediately there's something wrong about this card with no Frank Thomas on it. There's like some of the other black missing on the front of the card. Just I love this card again. Like Mike said, it's kind of like a mystical, mythical thing until you actually see one for real. I would love to be able to hold it, but there's no way they're taking out of the golden auction things or whatever. Let's some schlub from Pennsylvania
from Mike's Retro Trading Cards holds this card real quick.
Got to shoot a shot.
You do. I do want to make one more point about this card that I'm going to give Topps actually some credit. I usually throw Fanatics under the bus for stealing Upper Deck's IP. Do you know Panini for the longest time, the last few years now, have been doing no name on front versions of their Donruss cards. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, wait a minute, I'm kind of shocked Fanatics is not, it might be in the paperwork, the legal paperwork. We don't know if they're suing them over this, but yeah, they're stealing that IP. That's how iconic that card is, that another company is using that IP.
All right. Number 3 on our list of the greatest baseball cards of all time. Again, people of a certain age, this is the card. It is also probably the greatest example of airbrushing from the time. The 1989 Upper Deck Ken Griffey Jr. rookie card. Probably going to make some of the vintage collectors cringe because there are 8 gazillion of these that were made, but they're still super popular. No matter how many of them they printed, the prices of these graded still keep going up. There are so many people that got into collecting in the early 90s, and they all wanted the Ken Griffey Jr. Upper Deck rookie. This was the card for at least 10 years, I'd say, when I had my shop. This was kind of everybody's grail. It's just such an iconic card. It's great player, great guy, great airbrushing. Solid number 3 on the list.
This card put Upper Deck on the map. Period. Is Upper Deck what Upper Deck is without this card? Honestly, they knew that too, because weren't they just sending you these cards, Mike? Like, wasn't that the rumor that
I didn't get any, but
mailing these cards to dealers?
Some people did.
Out there. But yeah, that just tells you the power of this card. There are a gazillion of them out there, and no one cares. The PSA 10 still, they grade these definitely though on a curve. They're not if the back sticker hologram is moved just a smidge, or not sticker, but the back hologram is moved just a smidge, it's not a 10. It has to be, the hologram has to be perfect. I don't think they do that for every card in the set when they're sent off to be graded, but yeah, it is, like you said, Mike, it's just one of those iconic cards, especially people of our age. Griffey was just he was unbelievable. I didn't know about the airbrushing. I honestly had no idea. That's how good the airbrushing must have been. But yeah, good. This is the card that put Upper Deck on the map, period.
Yeah, another example. I mean, like another example of like a mystical, magical card, but in a different way. In that there are, like Mike said, 8 gazillion of them out there. There are probably a gazillion PSA 10s out there too, but the prices keep going up. Like he said, like this card, like it is going against everything else that we know about cards, like as far as like rarity and that sort of stuff for going up like it is. But that goes to the player on the card, the place of this card, this card in the hobby is as far as like Mike, you said, for people of a certain age, and that you know, it maybe I forget exactly how you said it, but it's kind of like it isn't quite as iconic as it was. But I tell you what, I put this thing in my case at card shows. Everybody's talking about it, looking at it, pointing at it. Like it still has this like magical, this like grip on the hobby, which is awesome in my opinion.
All right, number 2. Where are we going from here? We're going to go with the 1952 Topps Mickey Mantle. Probably the most iconic card in the hobby, right? We're all in agreement of that. Yeah. I mean, what can you say that hasn't been said about this card? Just fantastic. I love, you know, there's a lot of talk about the values and stuff. I love when I see versions of this card too that stuff happened to it, that it has a story. And collectors are backing me up on that too. There are a lot of sales of cards that have interesting damage to it that have sold for more than like higher grade regular cards, but it just kind of goes to show how important this card is and how much people love this card. I know some people out there think that it's eventually going to go away. It's not going to go away. This card is always going to be iconic, probably always be the most iconic card in all the hobby, but it's only number 2 on our list.
You know, I was paying attention to literally everything you said. It may look like I'm not. I'm actually scrolling to try and find the picture of me holding one of these. I didn't have it on the ready. I really should have, as we were talking about it. I was lucky enough to hold, what was it, a 1 or a 1.5, I think, of this card. Just an absolutely awesome card. And what I said about Upper Deck is Topps the same without this set, without this card?
Right.
Probably not. I mean, again, iconic, put that company on the map. There's all the lore about, you know, there's a bunch of them in the ocean somewhere. Who knows? I don't think, I mean, they might have been in waterproof boxes. No, probably not. Could you imagine how many, like, this is not, it's not rare, but it's not like there's only like 5 of them in existence. Could you imagine if they didn't throw them? Like, where would this card be valued if they didn't throw all those in the
We'd
ocean?
all have them by now.
We'd all have at least one, right? But yeah, this is the card that put Topps on the map. This is the card that, you know, when you walk past and you see it, you stop, right? It's just such an iconic card. And like Mike said, there was one, it was in a BGS or BAS or whatever their vintage grade or BVG or whatever. And it was like cut out, like someone literally cut the card out and it was just his picture. Those are the ones I love, the ones with the pinholes in them, things like that. It's just such an iconic look.
Give me one with the corners that are so rounded it looks like a playing card, right? Like an ace of spades or whatever. Give me one of those. That'd be great. I thought when you're talking about Joe, like, well, first off, this card has the story behind it with the cases being thrown in the river and all this stuff. And of course the mantle. I mean, as a player, and this card is like iconic as it is. Imagine if somebody somewhere had said, well, instead of throwing these in the river, why don't you just throw them in a warehouse somewhere? And they got found like 2021.
Oh yeah,
when everything was going bananas. Like, could you imagine what that would have been like? Just insane.
Just pack fresh mantles. Right, no biggie.
Right. Yeah, no biggie. But no, I mean, this again, the card has this mystical story behind us, mythical story behind it, and just like it just transcends the hobby. I think a lot of people outside of the hobby know this card just because of they've seen it and they've heard about it.
All right, before we get to the number 1 card on the list, I just want to talk a little bit because people that collect modern sports cards might be a little upset that we don't have any modern baseball on here. And it really made me think, the problem is nowadays, because we have all the different variations and all the different parallels and all the different sets that are being put out, it's really hard to come up with an iconic card. Like Shohei Ohtani, one of the greatest baseball players that ever played the game. what's his most iconic card?
Yeah.
I'm sure people have their opinions, but he has so many different cards to choose from. Like even Topps have different variations of him. So I feel kind of like maybe the Mike Trout update card might be the last of the iconic modern players.
It depends on what you think about like the Skeens, right? Like, but in 5 years we could look back on this video and say, ooh, why did that make the list? Because you never really know. But I think the Skeens maybe is
maybe
iconic.
the MLB debut will
maybe.
eventually become that. But
right. But even still, like even with the Trout, like there was also the Bowman Chrome first Superfractor, autograph, or all the Bowman Chrome variations. You talk about the 2011 update, which is the rookie, but also it's got the Walmart blue. It's probably has to target red. I'm not sure, but it's got the Cognac Diamond Anniversary stuff. So there are even variations of that card out there to say, well, like the Cognac version is probably the toughest one to get out of it. So the iconic one is the base, but then there are also these other variations. It's just I agree 100%. Like you can look at the card we're going to talk about here in a few seconds, and there's no question that this is this guy's card, right?
Yeah, and that card would be the number one card on our top 5 list of the greatest baseball cards of all time. The T206 Honus Wagner. It's just, yes, the mantle is great. These two are close, in my opinion. They're very close. Your list, they might be interchanged. That's fine. But this card, just because of the real life rarity of it, is what I think sets it apart from the other cards. We talked about, how many of the cards of Mantle were destroyed, and still a lot out there. Tons of Griffey cards. Probably not that many Frank Thomas cards, but this card, there are 12, 15, 20. I forget what the exact number is, but it's true rarity. The value behind it doesn't have to do with how many home runs he hit last year. It has to do with the rarity of the card. This will always be that one card that if you find it in a great grandparent's attic when you're cleaning it out, you're going to be like, oh. So just because it's a little more special, that's why we put this at number 1.
Yeah, this is so I live in Pittsburgh now, and I'll walk downtown and you'll see like posters of this in like storefront, like vintage storefront and things like this. Like this is Honus Wagner played for the Pirates, in case you're curious. But it is one of those cards that I held a Mantle. I don't think I'll ever hold a Honus Wagner. And wasn't it the infamous one, the first card ever graded by PSA was the trimmed one that Wayne Gretzky owned? Was it Gretzky? If Wayne Gretzky is like, I need to own this card, it's probably a pretty cool card. It's just there's just a difference between this one and the Mantle. Like this one, it would take my breath away. Like, oh wow. Like the Mantle, we see it all the time. It's still rare, but we see it a lot of places. We could go and hold one if we wanted to. It's not outlandish to, super low grade Mantle. Maybe I got that Brady. Maybe, I could have talked to that guy. I got the Mantle too. Who knows? You're not doing that with a Honus Wagner. You're not getting a Honus Wagner. No one that watches us, we're not. That is just a truly epic, it's the Grail in my opinion.
I remember when we went to the National the first year, and trying to find cases where there were like Mantles, like multiple 52 Mantles in a case, and you're your jaw drop. But then you notice that there's like a handful of 52 Mantles out there in all these cases. You don't see the Frank Thomas. You definitely don't see the Honus Wagner anywhere in a case. So you don't never see this card ever. We know of probably 12. There's probably less than 25 in existence, period, right? Like there's probably less than 20 in existence, period. There might be somebody might find one in a basement, like Mike said. But this card, I've said it multiple times, like this mythical, this ethereal thing. This is that card. I remember I don't remember clearly, but remember when I was growing up and learning about baseball cards, and the 52 man was always this card. But then you hear about this other thing off in the distance, the Honus Wagner, and when one sells for, I forget what it was, probably $5,000 at the time, but it's still a crazy amount of money for a piece of cardboard. But then to think that they're, that they still exist, despite them should have been destroyed back then, basically a couple of them exist. Like, just a really cool story behind it. And yeah, that definitely should be a number one. I mean, I don't want to say your list should be number one, but it should be on a top 5 for sure.
And this card wore the championship belt for most expensive, most valuable card for a long time. If the Pandy doesn't happen, I don't know if the Mantle jumps or some of these other big cards jump. But this held the belt.
Well, if one of these sells now, what does it go?
Yeah.
I mean,
that's true. It's
probably because they haven't sold, because there's so few of them, and who's going to sell it? And
Yeah. All right, that's our list. Let us know your list in the comments, because we read them, except for EP. He doesn't read them. But Joe and I read them, and we will interact with you. I want to see what your list is. Other than that, that was a good time. Hope you enjoyed the list. We'll see you next week.
See ya, boys.
See ya later.